Welcome in. Belly up, have a seat, and grab a drink as we talk some Wingman fantasy football. Welcome into another edition of Wingman Fantasy Football, the League Podcast. I am your host, Michael Furley, and as always, I'd like to thank all of you, or any of you who may be watching or listening to today's show. This is episode 141, a Week 16 Sunday morning quickie. And in this show, we'll see who's in and who's out for Week 16. We'll also review our show starts of the week, let you in on the players to watch in this week's Wingman Jam contest, and we'll let you know the very best way to get the most updated news to help you set your fantasy football lineups. But before we get any further along, guys, I want to make sure that everybody is in the room. Wingmen assemble! All right, now that everyone is here, this is a high-pressure situation for the fantasy managers out there. As for most of you, this is the semifinal week, and you are hoping to punch your ticket into the championship game next week. So I want to wish all of the managers out there watching this a very good luck, and I'm rooting for all of you. It might be impossible if you're playing each other, but it's true. I'm rooting for all you guys out there. All right, guys, it is now time to see who's in and who's out, who's hurt and who's not in this week's inactives. Let's start off with some updated news regarding IR, the injured reserve. We have Sincere McCormick was placed on the IR this week, meaning he's definitely not going to play this game, and he's out for the rest of the season. Same with Younghoe Koo, the Atlanta kicker, was finally placed on the IR as that hip injury flared up once again, meaning he is done for the rest of the regular season in terms of NFL and, of course, the fantasy playoffs. Now for players who have a chance to come back before the season is over, Austin Eckler, who is still in the IR with that concussion, has one more week to sit out before he's able to return. Although in all fairness, there has not been any updates on whether he's looking like he may come back or not. Similar with J.K. Dobbins, who's a starting player for a lot of managers this year, LA Chargers running back, also has one more week before he's eligible to return, and the Chargers already played their game, so there's a chance he can return to practice this week and maybe be active for next week. Now for players whose 4 weeks is over, but they're still, but they have different designations here. Chris Olave has been designated to return. However, he is not going to play this week on Monday night, but there is a chance he can be activated next week and return to the starting lineup for the championship week for the Saints. Now another player whose IR stint ended here, Hollywood Brown, Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver, was activated. And the Chiefs game was on Saturday, and he actually got on the field and had a pretty decent day considering his first game back for the season. All right, guys, now for some other bad news. These are players that are going to be out this weekend, starting with players that already missed as we had some games on Thursday and Saturday. Jaleel McLaughlin, Denver running back, he sat out the Thursday night game, making way for Javonte Williams. Who else was it? Estime and a practice squad player, Watson, got work. So Sean Payton just loves using 3 running backs no matter who they are. George Pickens, Pittsburgh wide receiver, also missed his game they played on Saturday. Now for players that have games later today and or on Monday, Cedric Tillman is still in that concussion protocol. He gets limited practices in, but he can't quite jump that last hurdle. He is going to be out today. Isaac Guerrero, we thought this was a meal ticket for the playoffs, but he is going to miss today's game. He is out against the Dolphins. Cade Otton, Tampa Bay tight end, he's going to miss today's game. David Montgomery, we thought he was going to go on the IR. He is not on the IR. He is seeking second and third opinions, trying to see if he can just rest that MCL injury to perhaps help the Lions in terms of their playoffs, but he is going to be out today. Jameis Winston has been delegated to the emergency quarterback as he is not expected to be active today for the Browns. And Alvin Kamara, this is kind of big here, guys. Alvin Kamara has already been ruled out for the Monday night game. Kendra Miller has the backfield to himself. Mostly, Jamal Williams might be sprinkled in there, but that is a potential dirty played for the playoffs here, but he is going to get a ton of work on Monday night in a negative matchup against the Green Bay Packers. Derek Carr, New Orleans quarterback, has already been ruled out as well. I don't know if that affects your decision whether you're going to go with Miller or not, but there we go. We have a couple of big-time Saints that are out, including Olave. All right, now for players that are either doubtful, questionable, and have some up or down decisions here, we have Jalen Waddle is now listed as doubtful, meaning he is not expected to play. David Njoku is still questionable with that. I believe it was a hamstring injury. I could be mistaken. But nonetheless, he missed last week. He wants to play. He's going to warm up with the intention to play, but at this point, he's a game-time decision. Braylon Allen is listed as questionable, and at this moment, he too is a game-time decision. Tyrone Tracy is questionable, but he expects to play this week. Tyreek Hill dealing with a wrist injury. He is expected to go this week. Tony Pollard, for the second straight week, did not practice, but I guess he feels he's expected to play, and the indications are that he's good to go. Not sure if he'll be able to make it through the whole game, but he's definitely going to start it. So those Tajay Spears managers, I still think Tajay Spears is a decent play, but it's not a smash play he would have been if Tony Pollard missed. Zach Ertz, who's dealing with a concussion and shoulder injury, is gung-ho trying to get back today, and if things go well in warm-ups, he is expected to play. Jalen Coker, wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers, he too is expected to play. Now for players that had injury designations throughout the week, but those designations are gone. These guys are going to play. We have Geno Smith, Seattle quarterback, is going to play. His backfield mates here, Kenneth Walker is making his return. He too is going to play. Zach Charbonnet was listed as questionable during the week, but he is off the injury list and he is going to play. So it's very interesting how they're going to split up this backfield. We will wait and see. Saquon Barkley, who was banged up in and out of the lineup last Sunday, did not look right during the game, but he practiced in full all week and he is going to play. Bucky Irving is off of the injury list and he is good to go. Isaiah Davis, New York Jets running back, is going to play today. So even if Braylon Allen is active, it looks like Isaiah Davis will be the second string running back today. And the good news, although a week late, Breece Hall is off the injury report and he is going to play and he is going to be good to go. T. Higgins, Cincinnati wide receiver, he would miss practice this week, but he is off the injury report and he is good to go. And Aiden O'Connell is off the injury report. There hasn't been a declaration who's going to start, but if he's healthy, I just assume he's going to play today. So Aiden O'Connell is off the injury report. I expect him to start today. All right, there is a little bit of a weather watch out there, guys. No precipitation or snow that I noticed, but there's going to be some cold days out there today. Starting off with Buffalo, it's barely going to get into the teens today. It's going to be freezing cold in Buffalo as the New England Patriots take on the Buffalo Bills up north there. The Cleveland Browns at Cincinnati. This game is 30 degrees. That's my threshold today because it's cold everywhere. It's going to be 30 degrees in Cincinnati, but a clear day with minimal wind. This one looks like the worst weather of all the games today. It's cold, the coldest of the year for this region so far, or this city, and but it's going to be windy and cold. Yuck. The LA Rams at the New York Jets. It's going to be in the 20s today, and wind's going to be up and down, but it might be I don't want to give you a strong thing here because it's gusty, but it's going to be between 10 to 20 mile an hour winds with gusts up, from 15 to 30. So it's going to be breezy, if not windy, and it's going to be cold. We mentioned this in our last shows. If you saw any of our other shows, Aaron Rodgers has been cooking, and I was saying that the old guys like playing in Florida. His last two games were in Miami and then Jacksonville. It's back to the cold weather, and those old brittle bones are going to lock up today. Philadelphia at Washington is going to be cold in the capital. It's going to be 30 degrees there as well. And I had another game that I didn't write down because it didn't make the threshold, but I'm going to say it here anyway. The Carolina Panthers, their game is going to be in the low 40s, and being that they're a more southern team, that might feel just as cold to them as the 20-degree temperatures in the more northeastern parts of the country. All right, guys, it is now time to take a look at our show's starts of the week. Bring it in. Take a knee. Who wants in?
Oh, pick me! Oh, I know, me!
All right, son, don't let me down. You're in.
Wingman Fantasy Football starts of the week.
All right, guys, we're going to start with my co-host, Mr. Bernie, his starts of the week this week. Starting off at his quarterback position, he's going with Jared Goff in the outdoor game against the Chicago Bears. And it's not a good matchup on paper in terms of fantasy. The Bears give up the second fewest points to the position. I think this is mostly due to the fact that the differential between their defensive parts of this field here, their running defense is much worse than their passing defense. So teams take the path of least resistance. Nonetheless, he's going with Goff, trying to regain after last week's loss and getting back in that MVP conversation. His running back start of the week is Devon the Man Achane up against the 49ers, and the 49ers give up the 12th most points to the running back position. I kind of expect that game today in Miami to be a bit of a shootout. The weather is great. It's going to be in the 70s. It's going to be clear, and we've got quarterbacks who can't handle the cold or the rain, so these guys have a chance to perform well today. His wide receiver start of the week, Mr. T. Higgins against the Cleveland Browns, who give up the 8th most points to the wide receiver. Quick review here. Mr. Bernie's got Jared Goff, Devon Achane, and T. Higgins for his starts of the week. All right, guys, now it's time for my starts of the week. Let's see how they do. I'm sticking with the same game. We're going with those birds in Arizona. The Cardinals are up against the Carolina Panthers, and I'm going to get at least 2 out of 3 here. I'm hoping and guessing here. Hopefully 3 out of 3. We've got at the quarterback position, Kyler Murray, looking to rebound from last week. Even though they won last week, he did not do particularly well. And the Panthers give up the 6th most points to the quarterback position. Again, staying in that game, James Sweet Feet Connor up against the Panthers, who give up the most points to the running back position. And Trey McBride of Frankenstein.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Trey McBride is getting his first receiving touchdown of the year today. Mark it down, and he is going to have a fine game against those Panthers, who give up the 2nd most points to the tight end position. All right, guys, I want to invite you guys to join our Wingman Jam game. We have 2 listeners out there who put their picks in this week. Finally, we have Ken T going with the Dolphins. Yeah, I believe he has. I didn't write it down here. I think he has Tua and Jonnu Smith, and then we have Loungeflies picking the Lions. I know he has Jahmyr Gibbs and Goff and Gibbs. So we have so the Dolphins and the Lions are taken from our listeners out there. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys playing. But now it's time to see who Mr. Bernie and myself are picking in this week's Wingman Jam.
Wingman Fantasy Football.
Wingman Jam with Bernie the Bounty Hunter and Amazing Spidey. Boom shakalaka! Arizona Cardinals. Atlanta Falcons. This one's for the birds. Wait, birds aren't real? If you believe that, I've got a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you. All right, guys, I'm sticking with my starts of the week in my Wingman Jam this week. I'm going with James Conner and Trey McBride up against the Atlanta Falcons from Bernie here with Michael Penix going with the rookie in his first start. I like the bold move, and Bijan Robinson, the great Bijan.
Pardon me, would you have any Grey Poupon?
All right, guys, friendly reminder, this is a suicide pool style. You can only pick your team once. Once you pick them, you can't pick them again. That's why some of these picks, you have to be a little creative here. And but go ahead and join us, guys. Pick an NFL team, pick any 2 players from that team. As long as our game hasn't started yet, we'll see the timestamps in the comments, so we know what's going on here. Just know that this week, you cannot pick the Cardinals, the Falcons, the Dolphins, or the Lions. Good luck to you guys out there in this week's Wingman Jam. Don't forget, guys, if you want to get the most updated news, go ahead and head over to wingmanfantasyfootball.com. wingman.com. That over there, you can get aggregated news reports, also Twitter feeds from prominent reporters, including Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, Pro Football Talk, and Around the NFL. And also, there's the inactive list that populates right when those things come out 90 minutes prior to kickoff. Just remind you that those are listed in alphabetical order, not chronological order. So that once your team comes in, you got to look for them, obviously in alphabetical order. So scroll down looking for your team there, and it'll give you the updated news there with those questionable guys and game time decisions. And if there's any surprises, they'll pop up right there. It's the tool I use to get myself ready to go for my games, and you can use it too. It's a very helpful tool right there, guys. Hey, I want to thank you very, very much for joining me for this Sunday morning quickie. Again, playoff time for you guys still alive. Most of you guys who are watching are in the playoffs. Good luck to you guys. I hope you make the right choices here. I hope our starts of the week help and do not hurt. And with that being said, guys, I want to thank you all so very much for watching. Like I said, we have more Sunday viewers than during the week, and I appreciate you guys. We're probably going to have just one more Sunday morning quickie next week to end the season. We don't do this year round. We do it during the football season, and we'll be back on August, in the first week of August, after the season is over. So keep that in mind. So subscribe now so you know when we come back next year, and also you can watch next week's show as well. You can find our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, YouTube Music, and Amazon Music. You can also see our video feed at our YouTube channel at wingmanfantasyfootball.com/YouTube. When you get over there, guys, please do me a favor and hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment. It'll get into our Friday morning mailbag, and you can also pick your Wingman Jam teams. Thank you again, guys. With that being said, may your glasses be full, your mugs stay frosty, and we will see you next time.